Hi and welcome to the first of a series of tutorials on Adobe Photoshop Elements. I'm using Adobe Photoshop CS3 and Adobe Photoshop Elements 5.0. First we're going to have a look at this picture I have on my screen here, and we're going to alter that in Adobe Photoshop Elements 5. So we go to our application, which is on my desktop. Double click, click on View and Organize Photos. So wait a moment for that to boot. And we'll need to find our photograph. Get photos from files or folders. In my case, the lady is just on the desktop, which I placed there before the tutorial. So double click to open and click on Edit, go to Full Edit. Okay, there she is. The only thing we're going to do with this lady is give her quite a softened effect using the blur tool over here on your toolbar. Now the toolbar is almost the same in each of the Adobe Photoshop applications that you use. It is a little bit different, but you can usually compromise between applications. So if I just simply click on the blur tool and go over here, I'm going to scroll up. So all I do to scroll up is use the scroll on my mouse. I'm going to put that fairly close, and it's sort of like giving her a little bit of a facelift, I suppose. We don't want to give her that plastic effect, so I'm not going to make it too dramatic. Take that point to about 25 up the top, and I'm just going to gently just brush over her lines on her forehead and going down the nose and over to the side, just gently covering that. Okay, just continuing through there. If there's makeup around the eyes, just be cautious not to click and drag your shading out or your blurring out, because that can tend to give her a little bit of a black eye effect, and you don't want to do that. You can use another tool which is situated under the blur, and you can just get that by right clicking and go down to smudge tool, but that's really quite a dramatic effect and you don't want to look like a Barbie doll. So I'm just going to undo that by holding my control key down and letter Z and just undoing that. The other way to undo is go to Edit and Undo Blur tool, or if you wish to go right back to the beginning, click on Edit and Revert. But we'll just keep going on the blur tool. So again, right click on that toolbar, left click on blur tool, and back to where I were. I wouldn't do too much for her because she's quite an attractive lady, and this isn't a really good quality image because it was just downloaded from Google Images just for the purpose of the exercise. But it gives you an idea how to just give someone that softened look as you're manipulating your photos in Photoshop, just to give it that nice soft feel. Okay, over here she has a bit of a blemish, whether it be a mole or a skin blemish. I'm just going to replace that there with the colour of her skin from here, and it's quite simply done by going over to your toolbar again and clicking on your clone stamp tool, and again you can adjust the size of your stamp tool. And I want to select a colour from her cheek and replace there, so I click the Alt key, click once on my left mouse and then over to the side and once over there, and that's just taken that colour away. If you don't like that, you can Control Z, undo, and I might select from somewhere else because that was not a really good colour. The hardest thing about using your clone tool is picking the point that you need to clone. This is a little bit red here, but I might just blur that a little bit more just to soften that. probably looks more like a foundation, and because the light's sort of hitting there, it's becoming quite a different colour and contrast to the rest of her skin. You can see it's a little bit red over here too, so she's probably got a bit of makeup on. I don't really want to do much more to that photo. Probably smooth that out a little bit. It is a little bit pixelated, as I said, because it's not a really good quality photo, but you can get the idea of the exercise. Okay, so we've used our blur tool and right clicked and used our smudge tool if we wish for the dramatic effect, and we've also used our clone stamp tool and replaced a bit of her skin tone in to cover up her mole. Okay, and that concludes the first lesson.